It's Monday, December 2nd, 2019. I'll call the regular meeting of the Waverly City Council to order. Roll call, please.
Birgen.
Here I am.
Drenkow.
Here.
McKenzie.
Here.
Rathe. Here. Sherer.
Present.
Waldstein. Here. And Kangas is absent.
May be here later. You'd all rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any council discussion? Questions? All those in favor of the agenda as presented, say yes.
Yes.
Opposed? Agenda is approved as presented. Next item is approval of minutes from the November 4th, 2019 regular meeting minutes and the November 18th, 2019 regular meeting minutes. Entertain a motion.
I will move approval of the minutes for November 4, November 18.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Council discussion, questions? All those in favor of the minutes from November 4th and November 18th, say yes.
Yes.
Opposed? Minutes are approved. Our guest council person for December is Adam Hoffman, the mayor-elect. Welcome, Adam.
Thank you, sir.
Do you have anything you'd like to say initially?
Not at this time.
Not at this time.
I think it falls on Councilman Kangas's annual or every other year that he's subjected to this, so I appreciate that.
Very good.
Thank you.
You'll get your turn.
Yeah, exactly.
Next item is one of pleasure. Sharon Cashman, who has decided to retire from the Leisure Services Commission to enjoy a little free time and travel. I have a little gift for you, Sharon, if you would meet me up in front. First of all, congratulations.
Thank you.
And the plaque is as such. City of Waverly appreciates the dedicated service of Sharon Cashman as a Leisure Services Commission member December 6th, 1999 to December 31st, 2019. You must have been one of the original members.
Pretty much. This was actually right after RAGBRAI in 1999. So Ike Ackerman had appointed me to the commission at that time.
Okay.
And through all the years, we had a lot of fun projects.
Oh, yes.
And
Oh, I
the
know.
amphitheater.
I know that Tab appreciated your service and Garrett the few months that he has been. So again, we all appreciate it. Congratulations, Sharon.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much.
Next item on the agenda is a public hearing. This is the date, time, and place for a public hearing on Ordinance 1068, an ordinance adopting the city code of the City of Waverly, Iowa. Mayor and council will entertain comments from the public. I will open the public hearing. For anyone here that wishes to speak to this matter before us. Seeing none, hearing none, if you've received any communication, Carla?
I have not, Your Honor.
Okay, very good. I'll close the public hearing. Entertain a motion to approve the second reading.
I will move approval of the second reading of Ordinance 1068, an ordinance adopting the city code of the City of Waverly, Iowa.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Council discussion, questions? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Birgen.
Yes.
Drenkow.
Yes.
McKenzie.
Yes.
Rathe.
Yes.
Sherer.
Yes.
Waldstein. Yes.
Second reading of Ordinance 1068, an ordinance adopting the city code of the City of Waverly, Iowa, hereby approved 6-0, 1 absent. Next item, public comments for any item that is not on the agenda. Anyone here have a burning question or comment they'd like to make? Seeing none, we'll move on to the consent calendar. Following items will be acted upon by a voice vote on a single motion without separate discussion unless someone from the council or the public requests that a specific item be considered separately. Number 1, approve the purchase of a 2020 Freightliner 108 SD cab and chassis from Don's Truck Sales of Fairbank, Iowa for the net delivered price of $58,050, which includes the trade-in of the 2007 Sterling hook lift dump truck for $22,000. Approve the purchase of a hook and lift accessories for the 2020 Freightliner 108 SD cab and chassis from Tri-State Truck of Dubuque, Iowa for the net delivered price of $98,779. Number 3 is a pay request from WHKS and Company for the WPC Facility Improvements 2020 in the amount of $17,786.08. Pay request from WHKS and Company for the infrastructure modeling, water distribution system, and sanitary sewer collection system 2019 for the amount of $11,524.11. Pay request from J.B. Holland for the airport runway 29 extension 2018 for the amount of $601,229.21. Pay request from McClure Engineering Company for the airport runway 29 extension 2018 for the amount of $7,505.28. Pay request from McClure Engineering Company for the airport obstruction removal project 2020 for the amount of $2,850. Number 8, pay request from Stagey Construction Incorporated for the Waverly Senior Housing 420 building project in the amount of $133,980.40, which is to be paid by Waverly Senior Housing. Pay request from AHTS Architects for the Waverly Senior Housing 420 building project for the amount of $3,001.15 to be paid by Waverly Senior Housing. Special Class C liquor license for Asian Garden, a Class E liquor license for Hy-Vee, a Class C liquor license for the Dirty Dog American Bar and Grill, a Class C liquor license for Pokey's Speakeasy, and the cash disbursements for October 2019. We would entertain a motion.
I'll move approval of this consent calendar as read by the mayor.
Second?
Motion made and seconded. Any council questions, discussions?
I might just want to point out the Waverly Senior Housing Project actually has a name now. It's, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm going by memory, the Red Cedar Place.
Yes.
So instead of the 420 building, which doesn't even exist anymore, and that's not the actual address of the project, it will now be the Red Cedar Place, which is kind of named after, as I understand, there's a Red Cedar Railroad that had run past there at some point in the past. So it was named to commemorate that.
And they got the post office to change the address to 426.
426, okay. But it's still not 420.
It's not 420.
420 anymore.
Okay, any other questions, comments? All those in favor of the consent calendar say yes.
Yes.
Opposed? Consent calendar is approved, 6-0, 1 absent. Regular business item number 1, Resolution 19-191, a resolution, a plat of survey for the properties located at 3401 East Bremer Avenue for Richard Schultz. I would entertain a motion.
I'll move approval of Resolution 19-191, approving a plat of survey to re-subdivide the 3 existing lots to lots 1, 2, and 3 for the properties located at 3401 East Bremer Avenue for Richard Schultz.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Council discussion, comments?
Looks like this was approved unanimously by Planning and Zoning.
I believe it was.
Right.
Mr. Schultz, do you have anything that you'd like to add to it? Okay, very good. Other council comments? Roll call vote, please.
Drenkow.
Yes.
McKenzie.
Yes.
Rathe.
Yes.
Sherer.
Yes.
Waldstein.
Yes.
Birgen.
Yes.
Resolution 19-191, approving the plat of survey for 3401 East Bremer Avenue is approved, 601 absent. Resolution 19-192, a resolution approving a preliminary plat to re-subdivide property described as parcel ID 091720000016, located in the Pheasant Ridge subdivision for Adam and Kelly Moeller. Entertain a motion.
I'll move approval of Resolution 19-192, approving a preliminary plat to re-subdivide property described as partial ID number 0917200016 into 3 additional lots located in the Pheasant Ridge subdivision for Adam and Kelly Moeller.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Council discussion.
I was just curious, I noticed someone voted against this. I just wondered what the concerns were. I couldn't find the minutes.
Generally, I think there was one concern about the idea of lining lots along a potential future arterial. I mean, it would probably be a long ways in the future. But that 29th Avenue, where it is in Waverly, is 240th Street, but that's a potential link to Shell Rock in the future. I think that was probably the concern.
And this is subdivision meant for residential lots.
It is. I think there's a request to the county for rezoning. We don't weigh in on rezoning.
It's my understanding that rather than approval, when it's in the 28E agreement, it's we reviewed it, and if we have any concerns, that's what I always understood from P&Z.
We don't have a 28E agreement right now, so the state law requires that within the 2 miles that we have a chance to review every plat of the plat.
But it isn't necessarily whether we approve it or not, that we've just reviewed it.
Right.
And, okay.
Are we working on getting a new agreement?
We have discussed that in terms of working with Intercog in the future.
And the county?
In coming years. We just haven't scheduled that because it really is one of those things that it depends on the willingness to sit down and decide. Generally, a 28E agreement is to determine areas where you're not going to review, so you don't have to keep reviewing everything that's within the 2 miles. So generally, it's really to make it easier for the entities to say, we don't have to even worry about that area. So we would like to revisit that at some point. We haven't made any plans for that in the immediate future.
Any other discussion, comments? Roll call vote, please.
McKenzie.
Yes.
Rathe.
Yes.
Sherer.
Yes.
Waldstein.
Yes.
Birgen.
Yes.
Drenkow.
Yes.
Resolution 19-192, reviewing the preliminary plat to re-subdivide property on 29th or 240th Street is hereby approved, 601 absent. Resolution 19-193, a resolution approving the golf course fees and charges for 2020. Would you entertain a motion?
I'll move approval of Resolution 19-193 as read by the mayor.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Council discussion?
I'm on the Golf Commission, and we talked about this at our last meeting, and there was good discussion about how Waverly's rates match up against other quality courses in the area, and we need to do a little catch-up, but don't want to price ourselves out of the market. I don't know if Jordan, if you wanted to speak about this at all, or Garrett?
What we talked about at the commission meeting generally was the golf commission, or the city, we used to raise the fees about every 2 years. They've stayed steady since 2015 for the rates for season passes, and so that's what we're looking at, is just getting those season passes, like Ann said, not caught up all at once, but getting back to raising them. This will be the first time in 4 years that they've been raised.
So, Garrett, why would you say we have held off for 4 years before raising them instead of doing it more gradually. Anybody know?
I don't. I'm guessing that it was probably missed in 2017, and so then we just, we got to 2019.
Well, we've deliberately decided not to increase certain passes. So for juniors, we're trying to encourage junior golf, and certainly there have been big strides made in that area. So with the younger golfers, we're not planning to raise those pass rates.
Correct.
It looks like the adult and spouse hasn't been raised in 9 years. So,
Right.
Yeah, that one looks like it has stayed pretty steady since 2011.
Okay, any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
McKenzie?
Yes.
Rathe?
Yes.
Sherer?
Yes.
Waldstein?
Yes.
Birgen?
yes.
Drenkow?
Yes.
Resolution 19-193, approving golf course fees and charges for 2020, hereby approved, 6-0, 1 absent. Resolution 19-194, resolution approving change order number 3 for the railroad crossing improvements at 20th Street Northwest and 5th Avenue Northwest as a 2018 project. Entertain a motion.
I'll move approval of Resolution 19-194, approving a change order 3 for items associated with the delays caused by the railroad crossing permit and to vertically extend the box culvert head wall and wing walls to a height equal to or slightly above the bike path for the railroad crossing improvements at 20th Street Northwest and 5th Avenue North 2018 project in the amount of a $26,415.50 increase.
Second.
Motion made and second. Council discussion?
I'd appreciate a little review
Yeah,
of
can we get
this.
some context as to what happened here?
Yeah.
So in an effort to expedite the project, we went ahead and proceeded with letting and bidding the project without necessarily having all the permits in hand. And that's because, as we've seen, the railroad permit can take years to do the review and approval process on, depending on their appetite for expediting that process. So we proceeded with bidding and building 90+% of the project, not knowing how quickly that railroad permit would come. And by contract, this is a delay in installing the water main that is not the contractor's fault. Okay, it is outside the contractor's control. Therefore, there are contract provisions for them to request additional compensation. They have to support it and justify it, and that is allowed by contract. The other one is the box culvert was installed in 2015 as part of the Dry Run Creek project. We didn't design the roadway at the same time, so knowing the exact elevations and the profile of the roadway was a little iffy. And upon building the roadway and installing the trail adjacent to it, we feel is in the best interest of safety to vertically raise the head wall on the culvert to as a safety provision.
And where is that?
This is just on the south side of the railroad tracks.
On that 20th Street project?
Yes.
Is it on the east side?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Any
Thanks.
other questions, comments for Mike?
So were we just a little too anxious to get this started before we had all the permits in place, or was this kind of on the contractor for not getting the permits quickly, or?
No. So it's with projects, you go through a risk analysis, and in this situation, yes, we are paying a little bit extra, basically inflationary costs for the delay in the permit approval process. Had we waited on the entire project, the inflationary costs would have been put on everything, on the grading, the paving. You would have delayed the project. You would have not had the benefit of the new roadway. So that would have been, the pros and cons. If you had wanted to wait instead of was a $17,000 increase for delays, you may have been looking at. This was a $900,000 project. Would you have been looking at $50,000 or $60,000 in additional inflationary costs overall? In addition, you would not have had the roadway, the benefit of the roadway for the past a year.
One more thing. Can you remind me what change order number 1 was, where there was a $180,000 decrease?
Yep. So in addition to putting the water main underneath the railroad, oftentimes municipalities will consider putting a utility duct bank underneath, because just as it is a difficult process for a single utility like a water main, if you have the ability to go through the permitting process with the railroad and install additional conduits for telecommunications, fiber optic, and those other things, it can be beneficial to do that. We were in discussions with Waverly Utilities, and if this could have been done at an economical cost, we would have proposed doing that at the time. The bid price for that utility duct bank was, we felt, not worth a value-added benefit, and Waverly Utilities concurred that if a need arose in the future, that they would address it with the railroad themselves at that time.
Okay, thank you.
Mike, is it, in your experience, is it a given that we're going to experience inflation every single year? Or do you have some
Yes.
periods? Yes, always. Is it about the same amount normally, would you say?
No, because if you go back to the 70s, we had inflation of, 8 to 10%. 10 years ago, we had inflation of 1.5%. We were almost into a recession type situation. So the inflation is going to fluctuate. One of the things that we're running into right now is the price of steel. Ductile iron water main. Anything with steel in it is definitely more than what you would consider a cost of living increase, somewhere in that 2.5% rate. Steel prices have been significantly higher than that, if not double-digit pricing. So that's one of the factors that was in this, because the delay impacted the purchase of the casing pipe to go underneath. So that is part of the inflationary costs, and that is most assuredly more than 2.5%.
I realize that it is aggravating to know that we have to incur this cost, because basically the railroad was dragging their heels in getting this project approved. But going ahead and getting it done when we did, rather than waiting, notwithstanding the increase in cost, just having the project done, I think the people that live out there appreciate that, even if it did cost a couple $1,000, in additional costs here in the end.
And I don't want to throw the railroad under the train, so to speak. Other work that we've been involved with them in, we haven't necessarily had this issue. It's been much more timely. You're aware that we did a lot of agreements for pedestrian crossings, for sidewalk trail crossings, those types of things, and the review and approval process fell right into place. some projects just are frustrating, and for whatever reason, getting the review and approval on the water main fell outside the norm of what we've experienced in the past.
Probably went to a different department.
It may very well have, yes.
Any idea when the crossing gates and the signals will be up?
You know, it never fails that as soon as we think we get things nailed down and we send out neighborhood notice on this stuff, it was literally one day later after we had a site visit with the railroad that, you know, we held the site visit on Tuesday. They said that they were going to get going on Thursday. On Wednesday, they got pulled out onto another job. I don't know why. I don't know if it was accident related or safety related that they had to take the crew that works on signals, and they travel all over the country, and they might even be crews might even be going to Canada as well. So they had immediate need that they had to go attend to, and unfortunately here we sit. We've been waiting 2 years now to get the crossing gates and signals installed. Incrementally, I guess, seeing the material sitting there is progress. They'll do it in the winter. The weather is not a factor for them. So, but when are they expected back? We were told it was going to be 5 weeks, that they'd be back after Thanksgiving. We'll see.
Okay.
Any other questions? Roll call vote, please.
Rathe.
Yes.
Sherer.
Yes.
Waldstein.
Yes.
Birgen.
Yes.
Drenkow.
Yes.
McKenzie.
Yes. Resolution 19-194, approving change order number 3 for the railroad crossing improvements at 20th Street Northwest and 5th Avenue. Hereby approved 6-0, 1 absent. Resolution 19-195, a resolution fixing a date for a meeting on the authorization of a loan agreement and the issuance of not to exceed $140,000 general obligation capital loan notes of the City of Waverly, State of Iowa, for an essential corporate purpose and providing for publication of notice thereof. I'd entertain a motion.
I will move approval of Resolution 19-195, fixing date of December 16th, 2019, at 7 p.m. in the council chambers at City Hall for a meeting on the authorization of a loan agreement and the issuance of not to exceed $140,000 general obligation capital loan notes of the City of Waverly, State of Iowa, for an essential corporate purpose and providing for publication of notice thereof.
Second.
Motion made and second. Council discussion.
So this is the step we have to go through to loan ourselves money?
To an extent, because we're acquiring debt when we take on the mortgage for the property that we'll be assuming down by the Green Bridge or 3rd Street Northeast or Harmon Bridge, whatever you want to call it. We have to have a formal hearing because of that. So in a sense, we are encumbering debt at a later date, but we still have to have the hearing. So before we can do the agreement, we'll have to do that. If we were paying for it out of cash first, we would have done the agreement or the hearing when we actually did the project itself. Since we are taking on debt to get there, we do need to have the hearing first before we can do it.
Any other questions, comments?
I wonder if it might not be a good idea to review the background to the purchase of that as much as can be shared, again, just because I hear some misinformation out there about its relationship to the bridge and city plans and so on.
Well, it's what we do, misinformation, so we'll make sure and clear that up. The property was approached, the city was approached to purchase the property by the homeowner, and when we look at the cost of staging, we do not have a place to stage on that side of the river, so it is beneficial for us to have that ground so that when the project itself is coming about to be finished, we will be able to utilize that. When you get crane work, it's not exactly cheap to mobilize those in and out, and on that side of the river, we have nowhere to put them. This gives us that opportunity. On the other side of the river, we have multiple places we can stage them. So it was a good benefit for us. If the project did not go through, and again, that's up to the council, we could simply resell it, rent it. There's a number of things we could do with it. But if it does go through, then we can remove the property, use it for staging, and hopefully save us additional costs towards the construction of the project. So that was the sole purpose of it. We did not go out and solicit this. It was brought to us by the citizens that owned the property at the time.
Thanks, I just thought it was important to repeat that again.
Absolutely.
Okay, any other questions, comments? Roll call vote, please.
Sherer.
Yes.
Waldstein.
Yes.
Bergen.
Yes.
Drenkow.
Yes.
McKenzie.
Yes.
Rathe.
Yes.
Resolution 19-195, setting a loan agreement for $140,000, capital loan notes, approved 6-0, 1 absent. First reading of ordinance 1069, an ordinance amending chapter 100, sections 100.5.02, 100.6.02, 100.6A.02, 100.7.02, 100.8.02, 100.9.02, 100.12.02, 100.13.03, 100.16.03, 100.18.03, and 100.28 of the Waverly Municipal Code, amending the special provisional uses application process to comply with the Iowa Code by making the Board of Adjustment the body that issues special provisional use permits. I would entertain a motion.
I would move the first reading of ordinance 1069 as read by the mayor.
Second.
Try and list what's not affected next time. Since that was a lot.
Can we get a little background on this?
I'll let you know that Isaac and I attended a conference on planning and zoning issues, and it was pointed out that there are a lot of cities that have made the same kind of mistake when it comes to basically special provisional uses, which are traditionally have been used. They've been used the commission and the city council to approve those, and it should have been the Board of Adjustments all along. So all we're doing is correcting that.
Pete Lampy would bring that up periodically when I was on planning and zoning. But
here tonight.
Apparently, we just listened to him and moved on, you know, I don't know.
I don't recall that he brought it up to me, so I don't want to.
He'll be happy the effort was worthwhile.
Any other questions, comments? Roll call vote, please.
Waldstein.
Yes.
Bergen.
Yes.
Drenkow.
Yes.
McKenzie.
Yes.
Rathe.
Yes.
Sherer.
Yes.
First reading of ordinance 1069, an ordinance amending chapter 100 of the Waverly City Code, hereby approved 6-0, 1 absent. Item number 7, cancellation of December 23rd, 2019 study session, meeting due to the holiday. Entertain a motion.
I will move cancellation of the December 23, 2019 study session meeting due to the holiday.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Council discussion, questions?
I think we often do this, don't we?
We
I mean,
often do it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to be here, so
Yeah.
I'll be here, but Ryan and I can get together and say something.
maybe we'll just go have a beer.
Or that.
It's been every year since I've worked here.
Yeah. Yeah.
All those in favor of cancellation of the December 23rd, 2019 study session being due to the holiday, say yes.
Yes.
Opposed? Meeting is canceled for December 23rd. Next item, approval of mayoral appointments. I'd ask for approval of the following appointments. Galen Brunson is reappointed on the Waverly Utilities Board of Trustees for a term ending December 31st, 2025. Jess Kettleson is replacing Ann Segerman on the Waverly Utilities Board of Trustees for a term ending December 31st, 2025. Tasha Burrell is replacing Sharon Cashman on the Leisure Services Commission for a term ending December 31st, 2020. Brian Pins and Tara Winter are reappointed on Leisure Services Commission for terms ending December 31st, 2022. Jerry Hankner is replacing Tasha Burrell on the Golf Course Commission for a term ending January 1st, 2022. Sally Thorson and Brent Jones are reappointed on the Golf Course Commission for terms ending January 1st, 2023. Doug Bowman, Clark Wilharm, and Peggy Rathe are reappointed on the Municipal Housing Commission for terms ending January 2nd, 2022. I would entertain a motion.
I will move approval of the mayoral appointments.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any comments, questions?
Mr. Mayor, I've always wanted to ask this question. Did any of these nominees have to be dragged kicking and screaming into the nominating process?
Not a one.
That's good to know.
Very glad to know they were all, Mr. Brunson was going to resign, and I didn't talk him into reappointment, but he had a conversation and consented to reappointment. Tasha Burrell, when she was appointed to the Golf Commission, was an understanding when Leisure Services opening came that she would make the move. The rest of them, all I had to do was send an email or make a phone call, and everything is great. So they were all very willing, and appreciate each and every one of them for their service and continued service.
Well, my follow-up comment would be I really think we are remiss in not recognizing the service that these people provide. I don't think a lot of people recognize how many people invest so much of their energy on these commissions. They tend to be invisible, but I'm really impressed with what they do.
There is 12, 15 active boards and commissions, at least, and an average of at least 5 on each board or commission. And so there's somewhere between 60 and 75 citizens involved in advising the council programs and process and everything that goes on and all the other activities connected with the city. So we appreciate it.
And then the liaisons from, the council that are also doubling down with their efforts too, so.
They were all very glad to be reappointed. All those in favor of the mayoral appointments say yes.
Yes.
Opposed? All the appointments are hereby approved. Reports from boards and commission, library board minutes, September 10th, 2019. Received in the record. Brings us to staff updates.
I don't believe I have any tonight, sir.
Okay, very good. City council comments? Move on. I have no comments, so I would entertain a motion to enter into executive session.
I'll move into executive session to discuss the collective bargaining strategy for the upcoming city unit and city unit negotiations as provided by section 2173 of the Code of Iowa.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion?
Birgen.
Yes.
Drenkow.
Yes.
McKenzie.
Yes.
Rathe.
Yes.
Sherer.
Yes.
Waldstein.
Yes.
We are now we'll move into executive session, leave